And to complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. An eyewitness's account confirms initial police investigation that 6 motorcycle-riding gunmen were involved in the killing of Ako Bicol Party List Representative Rodel Batocabe. The witness recalled that in the afternoon of December 22nd, she saw 6 men acting suspiciously near the covered court when she went inside a chapel after receiving a gift pack from Batocabe's event. The chapel she was in is some 200 meters away from the Burgos covered court where the gift-giving event was held. The witness said the men looked very unfamiliar as she is certain that she knows each of the residents in her village with only around 700 people.
Nung nandun ako sa loob ng simbahan, may nakita akong mga nagpakamotor. 6 sila. Yung 3 parang nakasuot ng mga itim. Sa tingin ko hindi mga taga rito yun. Kasi parang yun lang pakakita ko sa kanila. Yung parang mga payat lang sila. Medyo hindi naman masyado mga matatangkan.
The details she shared confirmed PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde's statement about the suspects on Wednesday. The reenactment conducted at the crime scene earlier also confirmed that Batocabe was shot at a close proximity. Police investigators said 15 bullet slugs were recovered from the crime scene and the gunmen used 2 types of firearms in the incident. Police have been calling on witnesses or anyone who has information about the suspects to come forward, especially now that the bounty for the assailant's arrest has been raised to 50 million pesos.
More than 100% i-assure natin yan. Kasi yun nga, we treat this mga informants natin with confidentiality. So yun sinasabi natin. Hindi nyo malalaman kung sino, kung ano man yung anong tulong na maibabagay nila sa amin.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections says it is seriously considering placing Daraga Albay under its control during the 2019 midterm elections in the wake of the killing of Congressman Rodel Batocabe. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez says they were looking at recommendations to place the town under COMELEC control following concerns expressed by local poll officials. President Rodrigo Duterte on Wednesday said he has instructed the COMELEC to place Daraga under its control to ensure peace and order during the conduct of the 2019 elections. The law provides that the COMELEC may place any political unit under its control if, among other grounds, there is previous or current presence of intense political rivalry among contending parties. Jimenez says the COMELEC en banc is set to discuss the proposal along with the assessment of the Philippine National Police. If approved, the COMELEC control on Daraga will take effect on January 13, 2019, or the start of the election period. The Commission, however, may opt to start the date earlier depending on when it deems appropriate.
The fact that the perpetrators are still at large has contributed to the atmosphere of fear and anxiety in the area. And ang concern ng ating local field officials is that it might lead to an increase in violence. As it is, there is already intense political rivalry in that area.
The Philippine National Police is determined to file charges against Iloilo 1st District Representative Oscar Richard Garin Jr. and his father, Guimbal Mayor Oscar Garin, for mauling a policeman. On Wednesday, Mayor Garin allegedly held PO3 Federico Macaya at gunpoint while his son, Congressman Richard, reportedly handcuffed, mauled, spat at, and slapped Macaya outside the Municipal Hall of Guimbal, Iloilo. The PNP plans to file physical injuries, assault to persons in authority, alarm and scandal, and grave coercion against Congressman Garin, while a case of grave threats will be filed against Mayor Garin. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde has also ordered the cancellation of all gun permits and licenses issued to Congressman Garin and his father as an administrative action to their involvement in a criminal case involving the use of firearms. The congressman already apologized for his actions, insisting that this was not directed to the PNP as an institution, but a result of his extreme frustration towards one police personnel. But Police Regional Office 6 Director Chief Superintendent John Bulalakaw says he is taking this as an affront to his leadership of the Western Visayas Police. He also assured to grant Macaya's request to be reassigned out of Guimbal.
Si Macaya actually ay pinagpapahinga ko muna, but he requested to be reassigned out of Guimbal. Ayaw niyang maalala yung nangyari sa kanya. Wherever they want to be reassigned, i-issue namin sila ng order.
In other news, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III believes that the reporters of the government-owned television station deserve to be regularized in order to be motivated to deliver high-quality news reporting. For years, PTV has not solved its problems regarding large number of staff under contract of service status, which obviously outnumbers their regular employees. Bello admits that government offices are limited when it comes to hiring regular employees than private companies.
Bilang nakakaalam po ng regulation pagdating po sa paggawa, dapat po bang i-hire as contract of service maging yung mga field reporters?
If you ask me as Secretary of Labor, I would recommend them to be regular employees para hindi sila mag-engage sa fake news.
The Civil Service Commission, meanwhile, says the PTV management should submit first to the Department of Budget and Management a request for additional plantilla positions in order to regularize additional workers. Potential employees should also pass the civil service examination to be absorbed for government positions. Some contractual PTV workers who preferred anonymity say they are still thankful that the station handed them their bonuses after some of their colleagues surfaced to report the problems in their employment status. They hope that their condition will be addressed at the soonest possible time. Tropical Depression Usman may intensify into a tropical storm prior to its landfall over eastern Samar tomorrow afternoon. According to Pag-asa, Usman has slowed down while moving westward at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour. It is packing maximum winds of 55 kilometers per hour with gustiness of up to 65 kilometers per hour. Usman, which was last spotted at 420 kilometers east of Gian, eastern Samar, is expected to bring rains and gusty winds in Bicol region, Dinagat Island, and eastern and western Visayas. Rain showers and thunderstorms will also be experienced in Daraga. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 1 has been raised over Romblon, Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, and Masbate, as well as in eastern and northern Samar, Leyte, northern Cebu, Aklan, Capiz, parts of Iloilo and Negros Occidental, and Dinagat Island. Northeast monsoon, meanwhile, is affecting northern and central Luzon, which will bring light rains over Metro Manila, Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, and Cordillera region. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, conducts pre-disaster risk assessment today to prepare for the possible effects of Tropical Depression Usman. Grace Casin will tell us why.
As of 4 p.m. today, the Dinagat Island was placed under preemptive evacuation by the local government, according to the NDRRMC, due to the Tropical Depression Usman. Aside from Dinagat Island, NDRRMC says they are monitoring the situation in Quezon, Albay, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Catanduanes, Sorsogon, Aklan, Antique, Eastern Samar, and Northern Samar. NDRRMC identified more than 8,000 barangays in regions 13, 5, 8, 6, 4A, 4B, and 7 that are prone to landslide and flash floods. They asked the coordination of the residents in the affected areas to cooperate to the local government to prevent any casualties.
Ang maapektuhan po na populasyon na tinataya ng base po sa datos ng DSWD ay 3.7 million na populasyon. Ito ho ay nangangailangan ng mga 749,298 na family food packs. Ang pinakamarami po ay dito sa region ng Region 5 at susunod do yung Calabarzon, Region 6, Region 8, and Mimaropa.
NDRRMC says DSWD has 1.2 billion pesos fund to be used for the food and non-food items for those who will be affected. As of 6 p.m., there are 6,445 stranded passengers in the coastal area of Cebu, Bicol, Eastern Visayas, and southern part of Mindanao due to bad weather. Meanwhile, Pag-asa is now monitoring the water level in Angat Dam that are now 2 meters away from its 212 meters spilling level. The agency is now conducting study on the volume of water they need to be released. Areas that will be affected if Angat Dam will release water will be Norzagaray, Angat, San Rafael, Bustos, Baliwag, Kalumpit, Pulilan, and Hagonoy in Bulacan. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
And for the news abroad, U.S. President Donald Trump defended his decision to withdraw troops in Syria during a surprise visit to Iraq. Clarence Shaughnessy will tell us why.
U.S. President Donald Trump made a surprise visit to U.S. troops in Iraq on Wednesday. His first trip to a conflict zone nearly 2 years into his presidency and days after announcing a pullout of American troops from neighboring Syria. Air Force One touched down at the Al-Assad Air Base west of Baghdad after an overnight flight from Washington, with First Lady Melania Trump, a small group of aides, Secret Service agents, and a pool of reporters. They stayed for a little more than 3 hours. During his visit, he addressed troops defending his Syria withdrawal, calling on other nations to contribute, and defending his proposal for a wall along the U.S. southern border.
We're not nation building. Rebuilding Syria will require a political solution, and it's a solution that should be paid for by its very rich neighboring countries, not the United States. Let them pay for it, and they will. They will. In fact, Saudi Arabia yesterday, you probably read, stepped up to the plate and has already made a commitment of substantial funds for development. And President Erdogan of Turkey has also agreed to take out any remnants of ISIS, and we'll be working with them.
Trump has drawn fire from some of the U.S. military for not having visited U.S. troops in conflict zones since taking office in January 2017, particularly after he canceled a trip to a World War I cemetery in France last month due to rain. While there has been no full-scale violence in Iraq since the Islamic State suffered a series of defeats last year, some 5,200 U.S. troops train and advise Iraqi forces still waging a campaign against the militant group.
There will be a strong, deliberate, and orderly withdrawal of U.S. forces from Syria. Very deliberate, very orderly, while maintaining the U.S. presence in Iraq to prevent an ISIS resurgence and to protect U.S. interests, and also to always watch very closely over any potential reformation of ISIS, and also to watch over Iran. We'll be watching.
On his way home from Iraq, Trump will stop to visit troops in Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Clarence Shaughnessy, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Meanwhile, United Arab Emirates media on Wednesday released images of Princess Sheikha Latifa bint Mohammed Al Maktoum following reports in international media that she was forcibly returned after fleeing the Gulf Arab state. After rights groups called for her whereabouts and condition to be disclosed, the UAE said on Monday that the princess, who is the daughter of Dubai's ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, was at home and living with her family. In 3 low-resolution photos dated December 15, the princess appears alongside Mary Robinson, the former Irish president and former UN Human Rights Commissioner. Robinson made the visit at the request of the ruling family, according to a communique that the UAE mission in Geneva is sent to the Office of the Special Procedures at the High Commissioner for Human Rights for the United Nations. Reports had said that the princess escaped with the help of friends on a yacht owned by a Frenchman, which was later intercepted off the coast of India. Israel's parliament voted to dissolve itself on Wednesday, formally setting April 9 as the date for an election widely seen as a bid by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who weathered potential corruption charges. Netanyahu announced the early election on Monday, appealing directly to voters for a fresh political mandate. A national ballot had not been due until November 2019. The right-wing Israeli leader is enmeshed in 3 graft cases and denies any wrongdoing. He is presently awaiting a decision by Israel's Attorney General on whether to accept police recommendations to bring criminal indictments against him. In other news, another earthquake jolts Sicily in Italy, injuring at least 28 people and damaging several structures. Meanwhile, Indonesian authorities vow to improve its warning system in the wake of a deadly tsunami. Here's why from Jovic Permas.
In Italy, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake has hit Sicily near Europe's most active volcano, Mount Etna, injuring at least 28 people, Italian officials say. 10 people were taken to hospital suffering from light injuries caused by falling debris. Some buildings were damaged in what was the strongest in dozens of tremors since Etna erupted on Monday. Volcanic ash had earlier covered nearby villages, and Catania Airport had to temporarily suspend operations. In Indonesia, authorities are working to upgrade the warning system after a deadly tsunami caught the locals unprepared on Saturday. The main cause was the eruption of Anak Krakatau volcano that triggered underwater landslides, leading to a sudden rise of the sea level. But nobody had a clue that a 20-meter high wave was heading toward the town of Banten in West Java. The tsunami has killed at least 430 people as of Wednesday, leaving 1,495 injured and 159 others missing. It has also displaced 21,991 residents and damaged nearly 1,000 houses in the affected areas. And in Russia, severe frosts gripped Siberian city of Irkutsk on Wednesday, with temperatures dropping well below minus 30 degrees Celsius. But the anomalous cold did not dampen holiday spirits as locals continued their New Year preparations without interruption. The local weather service expects the frost to subside by Thursday. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue.
South Korea is taking self-driving car tests to the next level by creating a simulated town complete with a community, suburb environment, and road test facilities. Mon Hok-son tells us why.
South Korea recently established a large test field for self-driving cars, which is regarded as a simulated town for its high-level simulation of urban facilities. The test field, named as K-City, is about 80 minutes drive southwest of Seoul. It covers 320,000 square meters, simulating community, parking lot, downtown area, expressway, and suburb environment. The field also provides 35 kinds of road test facilities, such as building groups, railway crossing, and street trees. The K-City, costing 12.5 billion won, about $11.12 million US, is built according to the world's highest standards and covers almost all the driving conditions and scenes required for the current auto-driving test. Simulated shops are set up on both sides of the road to examine the car's ability to recognize the environment. And the designs of signboards and doors of the shops are very close to reality. In addition to the systematic testing with road facilities, K-City is also the first in the world to implement low latency, high-capacity 5G networks, 4 signal-based stations, 29 surveillance cameras, and a control center are set up in the field to enable information exchange between tested cars and the outside world. K-City's Control Center Director Nam Pok said, for small and medium-sized enterprises or universities with insufficient human and financial resources, the tests are significantly time-saving and labor-saving. The person in charge says the KCT is still lacking in natural environment simulation, with the future improvement of self-driving cars. The second phase of the project will be carried out to simulate signal interference and severe weather such as rain, snow, and fog. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news, December 27, 2018. On behalf of Rheena, Villamor-Camara, and Angelo Castro III. I am William Thio. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.